Hi everyone, I'm Denise from Toronto Public Library, and today I'm going to be talking to you about a fun kind of book called Tactile books. And I'm even going to show you how you can make your own at home using everyday items you find around your house. But first, let's start by thinking about how we actually read a book and what parts of our bodies we use when we read. Maybe you're thinking, I know, we read with our eyes. Or maybe you like listening to someone read the book to you, so you were thinking about your ears. And both of those answers are right. But what about our hands? Can we read a story using our hands or by our sense of touch? What do you think? One way to read by touch is using Braille. Braille is a way of writing letters and numbers using dots or bumps on the page. This allows a person that's blind or has vision loss, so they're not able to see the words on the page. They're able to read by moving their finger along and feeling the bumps that mean the letters and numbers. So this book right here, it's about counting. And it's an example of a book that has Braille in it. So this page right here is the number 2. And it has the word 2, the number 2, and at the bottom it has some bumps that mean 2 in Braille. So by moving my finger along those bumps, I can know that that's the number 2. So if your fingers can read the Braille words, what about the illustrations, the pictures in the book? Well, this book that I just showed you, our counting book, is an example of another kind of book you can read by touch. It's called a tactile book. And they're just like lots of other books in lots of ways. They've got pages that you can turn, and they provide information or they tell a story. But the word tactile means something that you can touch or feel. So a tactile book also has parts that you touch as a way to experience the story or learn the information. So this book here uses straws as a way to practice counting. So you can learn by moving your fingers along and feeling the 3 different straws, rather than just looking at a picture of 3 objects. A tactile book might also have materials with lots of different textures in it. It might feel hard and soft, fuzzy, prickly, slippery, lots of different options. Like this book here. It's an activity book with what you might call finger mazes, where you follow a path and get our fish back to its ocean floor. And the fish is made using sequins, so it's nice and shiny and it feels like fish scales. And our ocean floor here is made using sandpaper. So it feels rough, like the sand on the bottom of the ocean. Some tactile books even have everyday objects in them. Like this little book about bath time. It's got its very own rubber duck in it. And think of all the extra information you can get from a book that you wouldn't get if it wasn't tactile. So this big book right here has a porcupine in it. And because they used sandpaper and toothpicks to make the shape of the porcupine, we learn that porcupines are rough and prickly. And you might not know that just from looking at a regular picture. So if a porcupine is a new animal to you, or if you're not able to see the picture, this is really important information to be able to learn. Some tactile books don't even have words in them at all. like this book right here. It's all about insects, and it comes from Japan, but I can't read Japanese. But because this book doesn't have any words in it, I can still learn that beetles like to live in trees by undoing the zipper and finding inside a beetle. So now that you know what a tactile book is, you're ready to start making your own. There's lots of different types of tactile books, including some of the ones I've shown you. But we're going to start off by making a relatively simple one using items that you'll find around your house. Before we begin making our books, we need to gather our supplies. So here's what you'll need. And remember, always ask a grown-up in your household before you take anything. So first up is the paper that we're going to use to make the actual structure of our book, the pages. Now a thicker, kind of stiffer paper, like the cardstock I have here, or construction paper, will be a little easier to work with, but regular printer paper will work too. You just have to be a little more gentle with your book. The book that I'm going to show you how to make only requires one piece of paper, but it's never a bad idea to have some extras available as well. You'll also need your scissors, some tape. Clear tape will work best, but any tape will do. Pens, pencils, markers, pencil crayons, whatever you want to use to add any words or drawings to your book. Glue. Regular, just white glue is what will work best. And lastly, you'll also need lots of cool random stuff that you can find around your house. And that can be craft materials, like these feathers and jewels. It can be recyclable items, like this old cardboard. If you take something from the recycling, though, make sure that it's clean, it doesn't have any old food bits or anything on it, and it's safe to handle, so no sharp edges. You might also want to use old pieces of clothing that can't be worn anymore, or extra pieces of fabric. You might use some old toys, like these little plastic insects, or even items of everyday household items, like these cotton balls. But as I said, before you take something, make sure you check with a grown-up. Make sure you're taking things that are old and maybe can't be used anymore, especially if it's something like clothing or old toys. Like this book about getting dressed. When I made it, it's got a piece from a pair of pants in it. But I didn't cut up my very favorite pair of jeans. I cut up a pair that was old and had so many holes in it that I couldn't wear it anymore. And that's one of the things that I think is really cool about making these books, is you get to use lots of different kinds of items and you get to be creative about it. You can use items you find around your house, you just got to use a little imagination. And it's a great way to start thinking about how to creatively reuse and recycle old items rather than throwing them in the garbage, like I did with the old clothing in the book about getting dressed. It's got that pair of pants, but it's also got a belt and some old suspenders, all items that couldn't be worn anymore, but this way they didn't end up in the garbage. Once you've gathered your supplies, the next step is to make the actual structure of the book, the pages. Start off with your piece of paper and fold it in half so that the two long edges meet up. Using your scissors, carefully cut along the fold that you just made. Now you should have two long, skinny pieces of paper. Next, fold one of those pieces of paper in half again so that the two short edges meet up. It should be like the same shape as a small birthday card. Do this for the second piece of paper as well. Using your scissors, again carefully cut along the fold. But this time, don't cut all the way along. You don't want to cut that piece of paper into two small pieces. You'll only cut about halfway up the fold. So you make a slice in the paper. A little bit bigger. Do this for both of your folded pieces of paper. Now it's the cool part where we turn two separate pieces of paper into one book. Hold one of those pieces of paper so that the slice that you cut is along the bottom edge of the paper, and the other piece of paper so that the slice is along the top edge. Next, slide the bottom slice into the top slice so that the two pieces of paper fit together. Fold all the pages along that fold to make the shape of a book. And the last step is to tape it so that the pages stay firmly together. So open up the cover of your book and using a piece of clear tape that is just a little bit shorter than the height of your book, tape from the top to the bottom along your folds. Do this for all of the pages in your book. And the outside fold along the spine of the book. And there you have the shape of your book. Now that you've got the structure of your book built, you're ready to start filling up those blank pages. But what is your book going to be about? Here's a few ideas to get you thinking, and I'm going to show you a few photos of examples of tactile books that other kids have made as well. So first thing you might want to ask yourself is, who's this book for? Are you going to keep it for yourself or as a gift for someone else? And will it be a fiction book that tells a story that you made up? Could be a story about one of your favorite characters, like this book that someone made about their favorite character, Dogman. Or it could be a character you make up all by yourself, or even a story about you and your friends and family. Or are you going to make a non-fiction book, one that provides information? And it can be about anything you'd like, ABCs, dinosaurs, or like this book. This is a photo from a book about how plants grow. So this page is showing the ground, and they've used a button as a seed to represent that seed buried underneath the ground, waiting to grow. You might also want to ask yourself, is your book going to have writing in it? Or is it going to be a wordless book that tells the story or provides the information just using pictures and different textures and objects? So once you get an idea for your book, you're ready to plan it out. What are the words going to say? What will the pictures look like? And the most fun part, in my opinion, what kind of interesting materials are you going to use? Try telling as much of the story as possible using just textures and objects rather than using regular pictures. And get creative with those materials. Like the creator of this book right here, this is a photo from her book about a magical piano, and she used two different types of fuzzy material to represent the black and white keys on the piano keyboard. So when you have everything planned out, you're ready to start putting it all together. I suggest doing all the writing and drawing for the whole book first, and then go back and do all of the gluing afterwards. That way you don't have to worry about any of your hard work getting smushed or the pieces falling off when you're trying to write on the next page. You can just glue everything down, leave it to dry, and when it's done, you're ready to read your book. And there you have it. You're ready to create your very own tactile book. Now for the grown-ups listening, we have 2 handouts available that you can download or print out. The first of those handouts has the step-by-step instructions for how I went through and created the pages of the book. The second handout has a number of resources, links, and information about tactile books, including how they're great for developing literacy and abstract thinking skills, and it's got some follow-up activities. And the links to both of those resources, the 2 handouts, you'll find in the description for the video. And for all the creative kids in the audience, we want to see the books that you create. So as long as you've got a grown-up's permission, tag us on social media and share with us a photo of your books. So thanks for joining me today. Be sure to check back soon for more Toronto Public Library programs from home. And goodbye everyone, and enjoy making your books.